Something isn't right. Something was done.
Is what it ain't. It's your girl Ombre Alert, and I am back with another video. A little psycho, you feel me? Like a D-list movie. This is somebody that we should have heard about in school. What is going on with the school system? You guys are gonna be shocked when I say what I'm about to say. Okay. What it is, what it ain't, it's your girl Ombre Alert, and I am back with another video. I love you guys. I love you guys. I love you guys. I have to say that first. It's been a minute. Let me grab my coffee and not play myself. It has been quite a minute. I have a few updates for you guys too. Like, I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for your support. I have to say that it's gonna be a lot of like great things coming. I know I say that every time, but like I really mean it. Like I feel like the universe is starting to send those blessings my way. So I just want to tell you guys I love you and just hang in there with me. More content is on the way. Today I have a very good video. I'm super excited to talk about it, and I've been waiting for like a topic like this to come naturally, as a lot of my topics do. They've come like supernatural to me. So I didn't really have to like look for content. It just comes sometimes. But this is a really good story, so I'm super excited. I've got my coffee and I am ready to go. If you guys are ready to get into this topic today, as you can see by the title, this is one of those. This is definitely one of like my bangers. This is definitely something right up my alley. So if you guys are ready, let's just jump right into the topic, okay? Yeah. So first of all, I want to shout out this creator on TikTok, because without her, I probably wouldn't know anything about this. I'm going to put her TikTok name right here on the bottom of the screen. Shout out to you, girlfriend, because you really got me hip to it, and then I did my own research after the fact. So shout out to you. It's good to know that it's somebody else out here doing content like me. I don't do content like that on TikTok, but I do it. Of course I do. Of course I do content like that here on YouTube. So shout out to her. She's doing her thing. Yeah, so this topic is basically going to be about a portrait. This is a portrait that was done in the 1800s, and the interesting thing about the portrait is that it is a revelation. It's the perfect example of that phrase that whatever happens in the dark comes to light. It definitely is a perfect representation of the entire phrase. This is a rare portrait because there's a lot of portraits done, right, during like slavery time, of course, from like slave masters and their families, but rare do you ever see a black person in the photo with the family. And that's basically what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about who was this person in this portrait, and why is it just now being discovered, okay? So in order for us to figure this out, we really have to go back in time, okay? This whole thing started with a family. The man of the house was named Frederick Frey, and his wife was named Corley Frey, and they had 3 kids. I don't know how to pronounce, I think the kids, it was Elizabeth, she was the oldest, then it was Leontine, and then it was Frederick Jr. So they had 3 kids, and they had a slave. Of course, they probably had few slaves, of course. It being as though it was the 1800s, you know, slavery was like the norm back then. But yes, they had a few slaves, but in the family's story, this was their favorite slave. He was 15 years old at the time, and he was working, and I believe he was looking after the children as a domestic for the family. And this person, he was, I have my theory, as I do in these videos. I'm gonna like leave it, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave it in the background. I'm gonna leave it in the back of the video, and then we'll talk about it I have speculations, but of course I have no evidence. So I'm just going to say that right there. I'm just throwing out a theory. I'm going to just throw it out later. But yes, this person was like a favorite in the family, and he looked after the kids. And he was in the portrait, and this portrait was done by Jacques. I'm going to butcher, I don't want to butcher the name, but his first name is Jacques Amans, and he was a neoclassic artist, and he was best known for his like portraits. So he was a very talented person, and he actually was commissioned to do a portrait of the Frey family, and in particular it was the 3 kids, and the slave was actually in the photo. What was interesting the most was that the slave was put in the original photo, but then there was a cover-up that happened later as the painting or the portrait got passed down from generation to generation. The portrait was changed and the slave individual was covered up. As the portrait was passed down, so was the story. So when the story and the portrait got into the hands of family members, in particular the great-great-granddaughter of the Coralie Frey, when she got into hands with it, she kept it for a little while and then sold it to the New Orleans Museum of Art in 1972 and told them the story. And they literally just put the portrait in the basement and kept it, but didn't do anything with it. I'm sure it was in some sort of condition. And the director of the actual museum, John Bullard, he actually said that the portrait wasn't in condition to showcase. So they kept it in the back because of the interesting story of it all. But they kept it in the back, and it stayed there for 30 years till 2005. After 30 years, it was put up for auction in 2005. Someone bought it and attempted to restore it. So after it was restored, you could see the figure of the slave, and you could see that it was a boy, and you could see him positioned up against the tree and in the portrait. But it was still like hard to, it wasn't fully restored. It was just restored enough so that you could see that there was a person there. Even in the original photo, you could tell, like, you could see something isn't right with the portrait. Something isn't right. Something was done. After the revelation that there was a person there, then a man named Jeremy Simmons, he is a collector of paintings. He actually bought it and had his person named Crawford. He hired Craig Crawford to actually do a full restoration of the portrait. And Craig Crawford was able to take away years and layers of the painting to reveal the character or the person in the photo. He was able to really restore it fully so that you could see details in the person's eyes and the person's face, and, you know, hair, whatever. You could fully see who the person was. And after that was done, then they went into a full investigation. Jeremy had a lady named Katy Shannon. She actually did an investigation to find out who the boy was in the portrait, and his name was Bélizaire, and he was mixed race. And they found out that he was 15 years old in the painting, and that he worked for the family as a domestic. And somewhere in between, like, Jim Crow, that's when the portrait was covered up. And as we all know what Jim Crow is, I've talked about it several times on this channel. We all know that Jim Crow was a time where there was laws passed specifically against Black people. We had curfews. We couldn't stay out after a certain amount of time. We had separate bathrooms. We had separate restaurants. It was during segregation time. So, whites and Blacks could not mingle together at all, or, eat at the same places, or if we went to a hotel, we had to go through the back in the kitchen, if you could go inside the hotel at all. And it was just like a really bad, rough time for Black people and how we were being treated. And it was systematically, it was like government laws put in place basically that we had to specifically obey. So during that time, you know, that was the time of the cover up of the painting. And when you think about stuff like that, you really get a mental picture of how far people were willing to go to show that blacks and whites cannot be together, should not be together, shouldn't be shown. This was probably around a lot of the time of like history of us being a race as far as like inventions, and this was a lot of the time where, you know, they were making school curriculum to not keep us educated and learning about like our people and how smart our people are and what we've accomplished and what we've been able to do as far as, you know, just being American. So this was definitely a time where, you know, separation of blacks and whites was like priority. So it makes sense that this was the time period where the actual painting was covered up. So they were able to discover that. Well, I was able to discover something too. Something that happened around the time of Bélizaire's, which I love that name, stay with the Frey family. The man of the house, Frederick Frey, he actually died in 1961. He died in 1861. There was a 1830's depression right before, you know, the Great Depression of the 1929, 1930s. There was a 1830's depression, and this had to do with like banking. There was some type of banking problem going on in the United States, and a lot of wealthy people were losing their stocks and losing all their money. And Frederick Frey in particular, he was a banker and he was wealthy and he was a merchant. So he lost a lot of his money, as well as other people, you know, during that time. They lost a lot of money, whether it was gambling or through the banks itself. They lost a lot of money. People that were rich became poor. It was like a dramatic decline as far as white Americans goes. And during the time of the portrait, this is like the mysterious part, is that the same year that the portrait was done, the oldest children died that same year. Elizabeth, who was 9, and Leontine, he was 5, and he died. And then a few years later, so did the third child, Frederick Frey Jr. He actually passed away. So the only living person that was in that photo was the person that was covered up, and that was Bélizaire himself, which is, you know, it's really eerie and it's really mysterious and it's really crazy. When I found that out, I was like, wow, like he was the only person, because I wanted to really know like what happened to him. How long did he stay with that family? How long did he live? So I did a little bit of a further investigation, and after Frederick Frey had died and all the kids had died too, he stayed with Bélizaire. He stayed with Corley until like 1857, and that was a few years before Frederick Frey died. And then he went to a sugar cane plantation called the Evergreen Plantation, and he worked there as a cook and domestic. I did go on the website and I tried to figure out, like I put his name in and I put like his ethnicity. I tried as best as I could, but I wasn't able to see anything, because they have it's a website, so they have like a database, and you could type in a person's name and their occupation and their race, and you could see, you know, if they're there. But I wasn't able to, when I searched it, nothing came up. So I wasn't able to see anything as far as him being there. But as my research says, is that he ended up there, and he was working as a cook and a domestic. And in 1957, from the time of the photo, he would have been 30 like 30 something years old around that time, maybe 35 years old, around the time that he was at the other plantation. So at least he survived up until his adulthood. I'm not sure what happened after that, but I was able to like do the math and figure that out, that he was in his 30s around the time that he, you know, went on and went with another family. And you know, the story itself is just, it's really interesting to me. Like I as soon as I heard about it, I was just like, wow. Like I thought about it for days, because I was just like, it's insane. Like that not only was that he was in the photo itself, he was originally in the photo, and then despite what was going on, right, during that time of slavery or whatever, he was in the photo. Like he was placed in the photo. It's not like he just jumped in there. Like they purposefully painted him in the photo and wanted him to be in the photo. And it's kind of interesting how, like, he, as the story goes in the family, as like the great granddaughter, Audrey Gracer said, she said that he was like a favorite of the family as far as a slave goes. And it's kind of interesting that that's the case. But in the photo, I mean, in the portrait, he doesn't look happy. He doesn't look happy. His body language says, you know, that he's not happy. You know, he's not even content, and it's all in his eyes. You know, it's all in his body language in the portrait, and it's like he wasn't even forced to fake it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even like hit him with the like stand up straight or anything like that. He was able to fully, you know, be himself and in that photo and be in his feelings. And I mean, maybe he wanted everybody to see that he wasn't happy. I don't know. It's kind of like how somebody could like you, but you don't like them, like type of thing. Or like people can want to be your friend, but you don't want to be their friend. Like you're just doing it, like just because out of sheer obligation. And it's just weird. It's a weird dynamic to be like, this is my favorite slave, and you know, but he doesn't look happy in the photo. And even if he did, it probably would be scary, because it's just like, it's like a brainwashing type of thing. And I mean, I just, especially the fact that they say he was mixed race, like he could have been an actual brother and sister to the kids. And you know what I mean? Like if he's mixed race, then that makes sense to me. Like where was his, I think he was with his mom. I think, but I'll have to look back into that, because I did a lot of research. But I mean, if he was 15, you just like, I'm just thinking about his family. Like, where's his mom and dad? Where's his family? Did he have brothers and sisters? Like it's just a lot. That's a lot. And now they're presenting this portrait now that it's fully restored, thanks to Jeremy and Katy. Like, if it wasn't for them two, like, and Craig, of course, like, if it wasn't for, like, them as a combo coming together and really cracking this case open and revealing, like, I mean, it's enough to make you cry, because it's just, like, so much of our history has been covered up, and it's so much more that we don't even know. Like, this is going into the art world. You feel me? Like, it's so much more to us and to our history that we just don't even know. And that's what makes like doing content like this so great for me, is because I get to learn something new, and then I get to share it with you guys. And I really want to shout out that, you know, I feel like more often, I think after COVID, a lot of people are like doing more content that, you know, is meaningful. And I just want to shout out everybody that's doing meaningful content out there. And I do, you know, on TikTok I have fashion, I do hair stuff too, but like this is what, you know, feeds my soul. Like, I mean, everything does, but this is a part of what will make a difference in the world. And I'm glad that I could share this with you guys, because it's such a good topic. It's such a good story. It's supposed to be showcased, the portrait is supposed to be showcased in the Met. This is what the fully restored photo looks like. And, you know, of course, we're going to do a before and after. I'll insert those photos. But I really just wanted to share this story with you guys and tell you that Bélizaire is his name. And he was a real person. And he made a real difference in the Frey family. And apparently, you know, there was some kind of, they had some kind of appreciation for him to put him in the portrait. And unfortunately, some of the family members down the line did not, I feel. Or maybe they feel like if he would have stayed in the photo, like it would have gotten destroyed or something. I don't know. I would love to know, like, what was the reason of covering him up. But I'm super happy that I feel like it's all out now. It's all out and it's all coming to light. And I'm excited to see what's next. I actually want to go and see it in person. I would love that. So let's manifest that for me. Let's manifest me going to the Met and seeing it myself. I would love that. I would love that. Just like I want to go to the Basquiat museum that his sisters made for him. Like I want to do that. I think it's multiple of them now, but I want to go to the one in New York. So let's manifest that for me, guys. For me to go see Bélizaire, just be there with the photo. I keep saying photo. Be there with the portrait. I just feel like I would love that. This video is a wrap. That's a wrap for me. I just want to say thank you to you guys for hanging in there with me. Thank you to everyone that supports this channel. There's going to be fun stuff coming up soon. I can't wait to have fun this winter, y'all. Like, I know my content on here can be, you know, pretty serious, but I'm ready to be like, I'm ready to show you guys like more of my funny side. I'm excited. So, yeah, make sure you guys comment down below your thoughts on this topic. If you have any more topics you want me to talk about or dive deeper into with my perspective and a little research, just let me know. Just hit me right in the comments and I will get back to you. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.